As many of you guys know, I put out a video just yesterday talking about my frustrations with Diablo Immortal as a mobile game, and well, you can go watch that video and get all the details, but I wanted to bring on DM to kind of talk about that stuff, to see if he's feeling the same way, to talk about what he's seeing in the community, and to really just vibe back and forth regarding Diablo Immortal, if we're happy with it, what we want to see, and all of that state of the game type stuff, I guess. But thanks for coming through the channel, man. How you been?
Yeah, man, it's doing well. Had
Nice.
learn how to get my DSO sprinter started this morning because it's fairly below zero. And when doing that in the code can be difficult, but that's been my morning so far, so now I'm ready to talk about games.
Yeah, diesel oil in cold, not good. But
Nice
yeah,
combo.
so I talked about in the video essentially that I haven't been playing much Diablo Immortal, at least over the past 3 days, the weekend or so, because I started playing more mobile style mobile games. Things like Clash Royale, which is 6 years old, and it kind of like has absorbed me back. I just got addicted to it again. And I tried out that Survivor.io. I saw so many advertisements for the thing, but dude, I can't put the game
I
down.
played that too. I actually played that too. It's a giant ripoff of a Vampire Survivors, but that's what makes
Yeah.
it so good. Is the simplicity of the action. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
actually played that one.
it's so fun, and I actually downloaded the Vampires one too because I heard that that's where it came from and all that.
Yeah.
But my point was, I wake up in the morning and I'm like drawn into those games to like collect some rewards, to get in a quick round, and I realized that I haven't even been drawn in to play Diablo Immortal, which is a much more robust game. There's so much more going on inside of Diablo Immortal. And I'm thinking, why am I wanting to play this cheesy game? That's so much fun, but why am I wanting to play this and not dive into Diablo Immortal, which I've invested so much time, the channel, the grind?
It's new. I mean, it's new. I think part of that is experiencing something for the first time has like a bonus percentage to it, right? So anytime you download a new game, even if it's trash, like I do this series called How Bad Is It, which I just about once a week I'll throw a video on the main channel, and it's just me trying some new mobile game. And more times than not, they're all terrible games. But the fact that it's new and I'm like going through it, there's a certain level of me that's kind of enjoying the BS of trying something, new, knowing fully in my head, I'm not going to be playing this game every single day for the rest of my life. It kind of makes it easier for me to just enjoy the subtleties of it. I think that's kind of the difference here. Whereas you log on Diablo, I'm sure this is where you're going with it, running in the circle for the 100th hour.
Right, yeah.
Isn't maybe something you're as looking forward to.
It's exactly, but you're making the point that I was trying to say, and that is, like, when you log into Diablo Immortal, there's nothing. So Clash Royale, for example, every day you have things that you can get for free from the shop. Maybe it's an upgrade you're trying to do. Every day you could you could request cards that you're trying to upgrade. And there's events that happen inside of the game. Every week there's multiple new events inside of the game. What is Blizzard doing for Diablo Immortal that makes you have that feeling? And I'm saying this because this is what mobile gamers like. I mean, when you look at the top 20 mobile games of all time, they're all those kinds of games. I mean, you have PUBG Mobile on there as well, which is more, battle royale, a little different, but still has those mechanics.
No, I get what you're saying. Or Snap, like there's some kind of reoccurring something that the activity themselves are what's enjoyable. You see, I think that there's two key differences, but like the one I'm going to hone in on in particular here is in the other games, the replayability that you're doing is where the enjoyability comes out of it. So like, let's use the one you said most recently, PUBG Mobile or whatever, right? So the replayability of going into the match and playing against other people, that is in fact the point of the game. Like that's why you logged into the game, to do that. No one logs into Diablo Immortal thinking I'm logging in to run around in a circle. Okay, so that's kind of a key factor difference. In games like Snap, etc., the fun and enjoyability comes from the replayability aspect, I'd say typically. Okay, well, in this one, you're typically grinding for the enjoyability, but then the question mark would be, where does that enjoyability actually comes from? Because it's very difficult to point in a direction and say, this is the reason I'm playing Diablo Immortal. I think if you ask that to most people, they would give you some generic answer of, oh, I like building my character and getting stronger and stronger, but there's no like, I like doing this, unless you're talking specifically to like the PvP community, and they'll be like, I just love PvP, I just love Vault, I just love the right, I just want to fight against other players. And then it's arguable to say that those players in the last 8 months have almost been entirely ignored, other than some like major bug fixes, and have received zero new content.
Yeah, that's some really great points, because I agree. If you PvP in Diablo Immortal is like logging into Call of Duty Mobile or PUBG Mobile. You dive in, you just go into PvP. And you're right, they haven't gotten any love, and this is what we've been saying forever. There needs to be more options for PvP. But man, I don't know. For me personally, I don't want to go run around the dungeons anymore. I got tired of, at least for now. But the problem is, okay, a lot of mobile gamers and a lot of people I see saying this, I took a break and I come back. The problem with Diablo Immortal is you take a break and you're penalized, right? Because you have to then grind all that back. Now, of course, they have the catch-up mechanic, which is great, and it definitely is good, but I can't take a week off of Diablo Immortal and then just like come back and unless if I'm planning on grinding it for a day. Like I'm already 3 days not in the game feeling like, oh my god, I'm gonna be slating my videos because I'm behind Paragon and I'm gonna just not be up to par with everything I'm trying to do here inside of the game. So it hurts to not play, and that's also not cool.
There's a percentage of me that wonders what this game would have been like with no blacksmith cap, no server paragon level, etc. Some of the mechanics I was actually excited by, like the server paragon thing, where I was like, oh, the grinders and the behind people, like we all get it, kind of yada yada yada, sit in the same area, like that kind of stuff. In reality, once you actually start playing the MMO, all it does is like ruin the game for the people that are actually grinding, basically. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the people that are actually grinding don't matter as much in the beginning because you're starting the game out, everyone's kind of new, and you're focused on grabbing the biggest audience you can. But when you grab that big audience, you need some of them to stay. After a while, you need them to stay. And when you essentially push away the people that would become grinders because they did stay for a while and they've been grinding the game a while, then effectively all that does is reduce the retention of your audience, if I had to guess. Like, I would think that basically what's happening is people pick up Diablo more, though either new. I still do think there's new players coming to the game. I still
Of
see them in the
course.
comments and stuff. And when they get to the game, I just don't believe that they're staying all the way to server 500 Paragon. Like, I just don't think they're doing that. You know what I mean? I think
No.
most people are playing the game, experiencing the game for what it is, seeing that they have 8 more hell difficulties to go, 500 Paragon levels, and 11,000 combat rating to catch up, and they're probably just not going to be too excited by that. I could be wrong. The data could show that they have like a 70% retention rate or something, but compared to some of the other games where it's almost the point is just you log in and then you just replay and you have a rank or something. Like I'm thinking of Snap in particular. You use the example of PUBG. You also use the example of Clash Royale. All of these games that you seem to be enjoying, to me, seem like, well, you log in and you do something fun. You don't log in and build on something. You know
Right.
what I mean? So they are fundamentally different.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel weird saying it because obviously there's a lot put into Diablo Immortal. It's a very well built out game. It's a lot more of a game than most of the mobile games that you play that are like have that addicting element to it. There's just a lot more substance there. But maybe there's too much. And when I think about it, are action RPGs even a genre that could do really well on mobile? And someone came through my comments, whether it was on Twitter or it was on in the video section or something, I don't really know. But he said they made Diablo Immortal, which is a PC game, on mobile. So it doesn't make people on mobile happy because it doesn't fit the feel of a mobile game. And it's not making PC people happy because they don't want to play it on mobile. So really, who did they make the game for? That's a great point. And in the past, I used to say that this is amazing that this massive experience is coming to mobile. But that feeling that I've had, and I had it for a long time, is starting to fade. And like I said, if I'm starting to feel it, I know that a lot of other people are as well. And in regards to what you said regarding people coming to the game, and do they really, if someone joins today, are they really going to get to 500 Paragon? And I think that most people, when you think of mobile games overall, the casual element of it, I would say that most people don't. And I would really love to see that data from them. Like, of 100% of the players that have downloaded Diablo Immortal, how many of them have reached like level 100 Paragon and beyond? Because I would say at 100 Paragon, you sort of invested yourself into grinding beyond the story and doing, at least planning to go a little bit further.
Essentially what we have is what Diablo 3 would have been with no seasons, is how I feel about it. Like, I mean, yeah, we have combat rating and there's some other mechanics and there's pay to win. Let's just throw it out the window for a second. Just look what the game is. Like, we have a Diablo with an ever grinding Paragon level that the later you join the game, the objectively farther behind you are. And there's no resets, there's no nothing. And the only thing you have is grinding any new content that comes out or repeatedly grinding the same content you've already been grinding to increase that level. So we have an artificial number in combat rating, and we have an artificial number in Paragon that doesn't mean anything other than where it is compared to the other people. So because of that, and the fact that the replayability in the game is very often only PvP, if what you're trying to do is like replay some mini game, we have dungeons, we have PvP, And then we have increasing your Paragon level, which is overworld farming and running in a circle. That is the game. Make no mistake. That is
Yeah.
the entire game. If you do not like these three things, you will not like Diablo Immortal. It is that simple. If you like the dungeons and you like grinding to see what the set drops are, you might like the game. If you like running in the circle because you think it's smooth and you just like watching the mindless action of it, you might like the game. If you like PvP and you like the action of player versus player and it feels like a little League of Legends to you, granted with the problems around it, well then you might like the game. But if you don't like any of these, you're going to hate this game.
Yeah, you have to be able to commit into this game to really enjoy it. Unless if you're someone that just wants to mess around, build a character up a little bit, have 5 or 6 different characters and just swap and not care about anything inside of the game besides finding cool stuff. I don't know. You know what? Someone hit me up and they've been trying to convince me to play Albion Online. Do you have any experience there?
So I backed them for multiple $100 legendary packs way back in their alpha, and I played their alpha on Android, their first release ever. I played through the betas, and then I played their full release. Um,
Okay.
Albion, for me was supposed to be like my next major game, and I firmly believed it would be so. But I came from RuneScape, and it was very often that conceived that Albion and RuneScape were brothers, and likewise with Albion being more of the Rust variant of RuneScape, where it's open world PvP with
Mm-hmm.
clan-based type of stuff.
I like that.
Albion is a fun game, and it's enjoyable from that aspect, but it comes with its own slew of problems that are not at all similar to the ones we're experiencing in Mordo. But it
Yeah.
is a fun game.
What the one thing that I heard, I saw a few things because I was directed to a few streams to see what the game was really about because it's been around for a while. It's like 5 years old or something.
Yeah.
I love the open world massive wars. It reminds me of like action RPG version of like Rise of Kingdoms, where like everyone just kind of fights each other. That was cool. I also like that there's one server and everyone's on one server. I didn't
I like
realize
that.
that. I that's kind of cool. I don't know, but I
I
mean,
like it. I like single instance servers. Like I'm a big
oh
fan
yeah,
of that. I like being able to I'm playing the game and I learned somebody else is playing the game and there's 100% chance that we can meet up. I don't like none of this.
yeah,
Like, oh, what server did you spawn on? Which of the 16 West North American Eastern quadrants of the Western? Like I don't want to do that. Just
yeah.
we're all playing the same game, are we not? So I've heard D4 is gonna have something similar, but I'm not tabbed on all the rumors for D4 servers.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, and probably the last thing is, I always said that I really like the Diablo Immortal updates. Every single update, they're making the game better, which I truly believe. But again, a lot of people have been reaching out to me lately, which is why my mind is started going. For a mobile game, people tend to believe that they're not getting enough updates. That they should be getting weekly updates with different types of events, not just the same events over and over again, not just an update that brings you new skins to the game that you could buy. How do you feel about the updates for this game? Does it fit the mobile genre or is it just lacking?
I think there are two things going on. I think there's how I feel about the updates, which is that they are insignificant in comparison to what I would like to see, which is how I'm going to feel no matter what update. If some update's going to arrive and I'm going to be like, I would like it to be better. It's just how I am. Whatever, like I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm a critic, okay? However, there is the logistics of where is it actual in the market of mobile games? How is it doing competitive wise versus other games? And there I actually have played a significant amount of other games. And this game is updating at a pace that I would say is at least competition average, like at a minimum, if not more so. They actually have had a significant amount of updates. However, here's where my problem goes, okay? Is that I kind of believe that they have most of these updates radio ready. I've seen from other games that it's kind of industry standard to have a whole bunch of updates ready in your pocket, and then you just drop one like ooh piece of candy, like you're leading an animal by dropping like little pieces of meat and going. I hate it when companies do this personally. I'd rather if you have it, give it to us. If you need time to develop it, so be it. We'll play the game now because if it's in the game and let's say they have the Blood Knight ready, okay? Let's say they had it ready 6 months ago. We could have been playing the Blood Knight for 6 months and giving us one additional class for all the content that does come out. It's my argument, which is that just do it. I don't think they have it all ready and all that. Apparently, they're still adding game files literally to this day, from what I'm hearing. So it's not quite completed yet anyway. However, the updates are not enough to keep the player base, I think. No matter how I feel about them, I've been very positive mostly with these updates. I still remain fairly positive, but I'm getting a little bit more like this last update was like, come on, we're only gonna have 4 major updates now in this year after we got the announcement, which means it's 1 major update every 3 months approximately. It's
Mm-hmm.
quarterly updates. It was supposed to be every 2 weeks is an update, every other 2 weeks is a major update. That was the initial one. I don't know why it got not only doubled but tripled in terms of production delay now. That was just like, no one seems to be talking about that. I mean, hell, I haven't even really covered that. It was originally, they announce it when it launched, like it was 2 weeks is a minor, 2 weeks is a major,
Yeah.
then 2 weeks is a minor, then 2 weeks is a major. Like, why is it 3 months now? Like, that's 3 times as long as the delay. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's not what was promised, and we didn't even keep to the same 2-week rotation the first year it was made either. So we've
Yeah.
never stayed true to that standard. So because of that, I have some negative feelings. With the updates when they arrive, I tend to like mostly. This last one was definitely a miss for me, fairly lackluster, and half the shit that's on the list I think should have been done already anyway. But that, I mean, if I really wanted to be a critic, that's how I feel about it.
No, that makes sense. And now, for me, I won't even be that excited if the or when the Blood Knight comes out. It's not even something that I'm like crazy looking forward to.
Really?
Well, no, I mean, will I play it? Of course, I'll play it, but it's not going to be like. I don't think that's what the game needs to turn into what I'm looking for. What's going to make me excited to log in? Like, will I be excited to try a new class? Yes, I will, but I don't think it's going to be like I don't think the Blood Knight is going to come and save Diablo Immortal from Eternal Doom.
So
You know what I
what
mean?
is the problem? And if we had to, because obviously there's negative feelings from some people are getting bored. You yourself are getting disillusioned with it. I know I've been getting more bored with the game, as have probably anybody that's been playing this long. I don't think there's anyone that's been playing it since launch that's as excited every time they log on as the first day they were. I think that's fair.
Right.
So what is the problem? Basically, like if we had to cut to the meat and bones of it, is it the combat rating system? Is it the server paragon limitations? Is it the blacksmiths and not being able to grind the dust? Is it the resonance system? Like, where really is the problem that's burning people?
I think that I'm a mobile gamer. I mean, I've gamed on everything, but for 7 years, I've almost exclusively played mobile games. And I think that there's no element of Diablo Immortal that doesn't require massive grind, right? Like, it's all grind related. I think, and I said it forever, they need game modes that are quick, fun game modes that if I don't want to ever grind inside of the game, I could jump in and play. And it comes back to PvP again. I feel like these conversations always revolve back around to PvP. I have PUBG Mobile. I mean, not PUBG Mobile. I have Call of Duty Mobile on my phone. Every once in a while, I'll just log into it and I'll play a few rounds because I want to go shoot things. I don't feel like I have to grind anything. I don't feel like I have to do it. And I just log in, collect a ton of rewards because it's been a month since I've been on it before, and I go play and enjoy it. But with Diablo Immortal, you can't really do that. I could log on and run some Elder Rifts if I want to, but it's not the same. I think they desperately need quick, jump in, play PvP style game modes.
The grind for sure. You also either need a reason for the grind or to have the grind itself be enjoyable. So here's my take on it, okay? Is that the entire point of the game is the Shadow v Immortal. That's kind of the focus of it, okay? It's the Rite of Exile and all this. The Rite of the Exile, in my opinion, is a colossal failure, even though I think they probably would think it's a success because what they wanted was drama, and, well, they basically got a bunch of drama. My take out of it is this. That the Rite of Exile basically becomes something that people don't want to do because being an Immortal doesn't matter. Also, the main stat that matters in that is like resonance, right? You could argue combat rate and all these other things, but it's really resonance. Here's my fix. Make the Shadow v Immortal, make it where every time the rain comes up, you all have to fight like a boss, like a Shadow Wars boss that's an NPC that has a combat rating requirement, okay? And the people that win it quicker, all right, you get to be the Immortal or whatever it is. Have it actually be a PvE type of competition, okay? And then remove resonance out of the equation. Be like, you can't bring in gems, all that. So it's just combat rating, or you can, but you can't get the effects from them. That way you can still pay to win your combat rating a little bit if you want. But have it be this thing where there's a reason to keep pace and grind, because there's no reason to be an Immortal. If you want, you can get a couple more bound legendary crests, which won't really affect your resonance in the long term, except for just a little bit. Maybe you get lucky as a free to play, okay? It's basically just gambling. You get a couple of them. So besides Keon's ordeal, there's not a reason to be an Immortal, which means there's no reason to be strong to compete in the Shadow v Immortal, which means you're only doing PvE. There's no reason to place on the PvE leaderboards at all, rewards-wise, which means there's no driving self-motivation for it. So you're only ever competing with yourself or whoever you choose to compete with. There's no other reason to progress. That's how the game works, in my opinion, because there is factually no reason to go to the hell in difficulty, just so you're stronger. But for what? Like, what's the grind for? There needs to be something to compete in. In PvP, it's not about that. It's about fucking resonance. You could say, oh, go grind your normal gyms, your combat range. Sure, that's all part of it, but it really boils down to who the fuck's got the 7k well on the other team. That's how it works. And in Immortal versus the Shadow, it's the same shit. So it's like, there's no reason to grind your combat rating as a free-to-play. If you want to get as close to a well in combat rating as you can, there's absolutely zero reason to do it, because there's no rewards for it.
I love when you get going, man. You get passionate. I love it. But hey, when I play for rewards. The reason I enjoy Helliquary are because of the legendaries you get after Helliquary. The reason I enjoy dungeons are because I enjoy getting the set pieces. The reason that I enjoy logging in is because I want to get free legendary crests, because I'm basically playing as a free-to-play player, and I want to be able to do those rift runs. It's all about the rewards. I don't think there's enough of them. Legendary gear doesn't even matter anymore once you get your set complete, because all you're, like you said, you're doing is chasing that more power. But we really all do know that the power does have to do with legendary gems that I, as a free-to-play player, are hoping to get lucky twice a month when I could run 10 of them in Elder Rifts. But there, I don't know if an action RPG can have the answer. And I mentioned this in my video too. Undecember, Torchlight Infinite. Two massive competitors. They both flopped pretty big.
People would argue Undecember did. Undecember has some very loyal fans that are like, this game's great, and I do think it is actually a decent game. But it's I would kind of argue all three of ours have flopped. Like, Immortal maybe landed a little bit bigger, but it had probably the worst press release out of all time. And Undecember and Torchlight, I definitely did think flopped. Like, I thought it was a flop, but some people probably argue it's not.
And I think they're all good games. I think I have nothing, the reason that I have things to say about Diablo Immortal is because I've been playing it every day, and I'm getting tired of it. But I do think it's a good game. I think Undecember and Torchlight are too, but it makes me wonder if the platform itself is if the player base, the mobile gamers, really even want action RPGs. I don't know. It's not going to be as good as I thought. But hey, let's end it here. I appreciate you coming through. Guys, if you want to check out more Diablo Immortal and Darth microtransaction content, DM Diablo Immortal. He's also on his main channel, Darth Microtransaction, and I'll link it all down below. Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Always good to chat.